17th April 2022 Madhuban Avyakt BapDada Shanti Revise 25th of March 1990. The Murli's title is The Basis of Attaining All Experiences is Purity. Today, BapDada, the ocean of love, it's seeing the spiritual features of the spiritual children from all four directions. There is spirituality in the features of every Brahmin child. It is in the features of all of you, but it is number-wise because the basis of spirituality is purity. To the extent you imbibe purity in your thoughts, words, and deeds, accordingly, the sparkle of spirituality is visible on your face. The sparkle of Brahman life is purity. Purity is the main basis of constant supersensuous happiness and of sweet silence. Purity is number-wise, and so the attainments from the experiences are also number-wise. If purity is number one, the attainment you receive from the Father is also number one. The constant sparkle of purity is naturally visible on your face. Eyes with the spirituality of purity are constantly seen as clean and pure. There is constantly the experience of the sparkle of the spiritual soul and the spiritual Father from your eyes. Today, BapDada is especially seeing the sparkle of all of your children because the main basis is purity. All of you can also see the features of your spiritual purity in the mirror of knowledge. Purity is not simply being brahmachari, means being celibate, but constantly a brahmachari and a brahmachari, that is, one who follows the activity of Father Brahma at each step, the steps of Brahma Baba's activity, which you call footsteps, will naturally be in their steps of thought, words, and deeds. Brahma Baba's activity will be seen in their every footstep. It is not difficult to become brahmachari, but it is essential to check that you are a brahmachari and the steps of your mind, words, and deeds, the face and activity of someone who is a brahmachari are constantly experienced as introverted and thereby in supersensuous happiness. The power of their happiness and pleasure is not based on the means of knowledge. On the one hand, there is science, and in Brahman life there is knowledge. A brahmachari soul does not experience constant happiness on the basis of science or knowledge. We use the method for a task in the form of spiritual endeavor. It does not make the method his support, but he uses the method for a task on the basis of his spiritual endeavor. This is why some Brahmin souls sometimes say that they did not receive a chance, or that they did not receive help in a particular aspect, or that they did not receive cooperation. This was why their happiness decreased, or why their zeal and enthusiasm in themselves or for service reduced, or that they had that experience at first. They experienced supersensuous happiness and also zeal and enthusiasm. They did not see anyone except Baba and the self. However, the majority has different experiences, means ups and downs, in 5 to 10 years. What is the reason for that? 10 years on the zeal and enthusiasm of the first year should be 10 times greater. But why have they reduced? The reason is that they do not use the method for a task while stabilized in their stage of making spiritual endeavor. They make one support or another the basis of their progress, and then that support shakes. The zeal and enthusiasm also shake. It is not a bad thing to take a support, but making the support the foundation causes the father to be removed from in between. You make the support your foundation. Therefore, what is the fluctuation that takes place? If it were like this would not happen. If I have this will happen. This is very essential. You begin to have such experiences. So there is an balance between the method and the spiritual endeavor. Your intellects are down more towards the method and less towards the spiritual endeavor. This is why you do not receive the experience, the Father's blessings for any task or service you do. When you do have success through the means, there is good zeal and enthusiasm. But because you do not experience blessings and there is less success through the method, your zeal and enthusiasm also decrease. There are the method and the spiritual endeavor, powerful remembrance, having a constant relationship of the heart with the Father is called making spiritual endeavor. Spiritual endeavor is not simply sitting in yoga, but just as you sit with your body, so your heart, mind, and intellect should sit in the same way, facing the Father. They should sit with the Father. If the body is sitting there, but the mind is running in one direction, the intellect is running in another direction, and something else is entering the heart. That is not called making a spiritual endeavor. All four, the mind, intellect, heart, and body, should be together in an equally constant stage with the Father. This is making accurate spiritual endeavor. Do you understand? If you are not able to make accurate spiritual endeavor, you start to call out in prayer. You heard earlier too that you sometimes remember Baba and you sometimes complain. It is not necessary to complain in remembrance. For those who make spiritual endeavor, the Father is always their support. Wherever the Father is, the children there are always in the flying stage. It will not decrease. Instead, it will increase multifold. When there is fluctuation, when sometimes up, sometimes down, there is tiredness. What happens when you sit somewhere that shakes a lot? When you are shaken a lot in a dream, it makes you tired, does it not? Sometimes you fly with a lot of zeal and enthusiasm. Sometimes you stay in between and sometimes you come down. This is fluctuation, is it not? This is why you either get tired or you get bored. You then think, do we have to continue in this way? However, those who are constantly with the Father through their spiritual endeavor experience everything to be the new and the confidence age. There is newness at every moment, newness in every thought, because there is the flying stage at every step. That is, there is attainment after attainment. There is attainment at every moment. At the confluence age, the Father gives you attainments at every moment in the form of an inheritance and blessings. There is happiness in attainments, and with happiness, your zeal and enthusiasm continue to increase. It is not possible for them to decrease. Even if Maya comes, there is the happiness of becoming victorious because you have become knowledgeful about how to gain victory over a Maya. Therefore, for those who are 10 years old, it is 10 times as much. For those who have been here for 20 years, it is 20 times as much. It is even greater, but you simply say that for the sake of saying it. In fact, it is multifold. What will you now do this year? Zeal and enthusiasm are your property, which you have received from the Father. You have made the Father's property belong to you. So, do you increase your property or do you reduce it? This year, especially underline paying attention to four types of service. Number one is the service of the self. Second, service of the world. Third, service through the mind. One thing, it's service through words, but service through the mind is also special. And fourthly, service of the yajna. Wherever you may be, at whatever service place you may be, all the service places are the places where the sacrificial fire means yajna is created. It isn't that Madhavan is the only yajna and that your places are not the yajna. Therefore, to do service of the yajna means definitely to do one service or another with your deeds. BapDada keeps an account of three types of service for all the children: service through the mind, words, and actions, body, mind, and wealth. Some Brahmins think that they are not able to become cooperative with wealth, that they are not able to do such service because they are surrendered, that they do not earn anything. And so, how can they do service through wealth? However, if a surrendered soul is economical in a task of the yajna, by paying attention and with his own efforts, the money saved by his economy is accumulated in his account. This is a subtle account. If someone makes a loss, there is a burden accumulated in his account, whereas if someone is economical, wealth is accumulated in his account. Every grain of the yajna is equal to the sovereign. If someone is economical for the yajna, not just for show, but from the heart, he continues to accumulate sovereigns. Secondly, if a surrendered soul inspires others to use their money in a worthwhile way for service, he accumulates a share through that too. This is why everyone has three types of account. The percentage of all three accounts should be good. Some think that because they are very busy doing service with words, or that their duty is only to do service with words, they can have a smaller percentage in doing service with the mind and actions. This excuse will not do. What would the result be? If at the time of doing service with words, you did service with words and also served your mind as well, can you not do service with your mind and words together? Serving with words is easy, but you have to pay a little more attention to serving with your mind. This is why you have been able to accumulate in your account of words, but your account of the mind has remained empty. All of you are even cleverer than the father when it comes to words. The little ones of today give even better lecture than the daddies. It is new blood. It's good. You can move forward. BapDada is happy. However, what would happen if your account of the mind remains empty because there are 100 marks for each account? Do not consider serving with actions to be simply physical service. Serving through your actions means to be part of a gathering, to have relationships and connections with others. All of this is accumulated in the account of actions. So, there is a lot of difference between all the three accounts of meaning, yet they continue to be happy that they are doing a lot of service, that they are very good. You may stay happy, but your account should not also stay empty. BapDada has love for you children, but you cannot complain that you were not given a signal that this also happens. At that time, BapDada will remind you of this point. This image will appear on the television. Therefore, this year you may do a lot of service, but keep these three accounts, and along with that also do the four types of service. If the side of service with words became heavy and the side of service with the mind and deeds became light, what would then happen? There would not be a balance, would there? Because there isn't a balance. Zeal and enthusiasm also fluctuate. Firstly, you have to keep paying attention to this. However, BapDada repeatedly tells you not to change attention into tension. You often say that you have to pay attention, but you then change attention into tension. Do not do this. This should be easy and natural attention. There is natural attention in the stage of being double light. Acha, to those who constantly have the spiritual sparkle of purity on their faces and in their activity, to the elevated souls who are brahmacharis at every step, to those who keep all their accounts of service full, to those who have the determined thought in their hearts to make progress, to those who make themselves instruments to become number one in self-progress, to such souls who are loved by the Father and especially loved by Mother Brahma, because you celebrated Mother's Day today. And so, to the princely children of Mother Brahma, especially from Mother Brahma and from Baba's heart, love, remembrance, and namaste. The spiritual children says namaste and good morning to the spiritual father. BapDada meeting Madhuban residents. Madhuban residents have received good golden chances, and this is why BapDada calls those who repeatedly receive golden chances according to the drama the biggest chancellors. You receive both the fruit, means well, and power, means well, of service. You receive power, and it is that power that does service, and the fruit you receive makes you constantly strong and enables you to move forward, who listen to the most Murlis, those from Madhuban. Others listen to Murlis that can be counted, whereas you constantly continue to listen to the Murlis. You are number one and listening to the Murlis. However, in doing that, are you number one in practicing it, or do you become second in that? You have a special right over those who are close, and so BapDada also has a special right. You have to practice it, and you have to do that as a number one. You mustn't have a number at the end in anything. All your accounts of accumulation have to be number one and full. Not a single account should be even a little empty. Just as you have all attainments in Madhuban, whether it is spiritual or physical, you receive everything number one. In the same way, be number one and practicing it. The sign of a number one is to win in every situation. If you win, then you are definitely one. If you only sometimes win, then you cannot be number one. Acha, you have received lots of congratulations and lots of certificates from service. So, what more certificates do you have to claim? First, to like your own efforts. Second, to be loved by God. Third, to be loved by the family. Each one of you has to claim these three certificates. It shouldn't be that you have the first certificate of liking your own self, but you do not have the others. All three are needed. Who is loved by the Father? Those who do what the Father says. This is claiming the certificate of being loved by God. To like yourselves means that whatever is in your heart is what is in the Father's heart, not to have a liking for anything limited. But the Father's heart means your heart. Whatever the Father likes, you like that too. This is called the certificate of liking yourselves, and the other certificate is of contentment of the family. Have you claimed all these three certificates? Whatever certificates you receive also have to be verified. These have to be verified by the seniors. The Father is greatly merciful, and so he would say, yes. Acha, is everyone's department free from obstacles? Are you also free from obstacles? The fragrance of service is spread across the world and also in the subtle region. Now you just have to have these three certificates verified. Acha, BapDada, meeting Bharatvasis. Do you experience yourselves to have become the happy children of the Father, the bestower of happiness? If the Father is the bestower of happiness, the children would be embodiments of happiness, would they not? Do you ever have waves of sorrow? Sorrow cannot come to the children of the bestower of happiness, because the treasures of the Father, the bestower of happiness, have become your treasures. Happiness, peace, power, and joy are all your treasures. The Father's treasures have now become your treasures. You are the children who are the masters, are you not? Acha, Bharat is no less. You come here in all the groups. The Father is also pleased. If someone has been lost for 5,000 years and is found again, there would be so much happiness. There is so much happiness if someone who has been lost for 10 to 12 years is found again. Here, the Father and children have been separated for 5,000 years and have now met once again. So there is a lot of happiness. Who has the most happiness? All of you have, because this treasure of happiness, it's so huge that no matter how many take from it, how much they take from it, it never finishes. This is why each one of you is a soul who has a right. It is like that, is it not? What age is the confluence age called? The confluence age is the age of happiness. There are treasures and only treasures. You can fill yourselves with as many treasures as you want. You have received the blessing of may you be wealthy. May you have all treasures. You have the blessing of all treasures. In Brahmin life, there is happiness and only happiness. This happiness doesn't ever disappear, does it? Maya does not steal your treasures, does she? The treasures of those who are careful and clever can never be looted. Those who are a little careless can have their treasures looted. You are careful, are you not? Or do you sometimes fall asleep? When someone falls asleep, their things can then be stolen because they became careless. If you are constantly clever and a constantly ignited light that is awake, Maya would not then have the courage to loot your treasures. Acha, wherever you have come from, all of you are multi-million times fortunate. Content to sing the song. I have found everything. You have this guarantee for 21 births that you will always have these treasures. No one else can give you such a guarantee. So you have claimed this guarantee card, have you not? It is not an ordinary soul who has given you this guarantee card. He is the bestower, and this is why you have no fear or doubt. Acha, blessing. May you follow the Father's and become worthy by giving the proof in every action and became an embodiment of success. Explanation: the children who follow the Father become equal because the Father's steps are their steps. BapDada calls the children who give the proof in every action worthy. Worthy means those who constantly experience the Father's hand of Srimad and his company. Where there is the Father's Srimad and hand of blessings, there will always be success. This is why whatever task you carry out, keep it in your awareness that you have the Father's hand of blessings over you. Slogan: actions performed by someone stabilized in the higher stage of being as valuable as a diamond are precious actions. Om Shanti